Are you looking for a weekend away, a romantic weekend, a girls' weekend? Are you just looking for a city break, getting out of the rut and your normal hustle bustle? Then go ahead and head to Montreal, Canada. What an incredible city. I'm Kim, the Abundant Traveler. I've been to 65 countries and lived in 5, and I've traveled all over the world, and I'm here to share all the tips and tricks for going to Montreal, Canada. This is your ultimate travel guide for when to go, where to stay, what to do, what to eat, as well as how much does everything cost. So let's go ahead and start with where the heck is Montreal, Canada? The city is located in the province of Quebec, sort of toward the eastern side of Canada. It is primarily French speaking, and the actual city of Montreal is an island. There are 4 million people in the surrounding area around Montreal. 2 million live on the island. It's such a beautiful city. I absolutely fell in love. So let's talk about how to get there. Well, the Trudeau Airport is located about 30 minutes outside of the main part of town, and it's about a $40 Canadian dollar cab ride or Uber ride. They do have an Uber in Montreal from the airport into the heart of the city. If you're going to be staying in Montreal for a few days, I recommend probably 4 nights. In 4 nights, you can do everything you'd like to do, see everything you want to see, as well as have some amazing downtime. Now, where to stay in this beautiful city? Well, you can stay in the Old Town, which is near the port. That's where a lot of the tourists stay. It's really busy down there. I would say the restaurants down there are a little more expensive, and some of them are a little bit fancier as well. There's a lot of Airbnbs down there, and the architecture is more traditional port, old style. You can stay in the heart of the city. That's where you'll find things like the Marriott's and the Fairmont and the Hampton Inns, etc. The main hotels are in the heart of the city where you're going to see the high rises. That's where we stayed. I actually stayed at a courtyard for free, by the way. I love using credit cards to travel for free. So if you're interested in more information, go below, and I've got my Marriott credit card as well as my other credit card I use to fly there for free. So I stayed in the heart of the city, which is the city proper, but if I were to go back, I would stay in the area called Mont-Royal or Mount Royal, or in the Plateau. It is more neighborhoodish, amazing local restaurants in those areas, lots of parks in those areas, and not quite so touristy, nor the feeling of being in a big city in the financial district. So if I were to go back, and I'm definitely going back, then I'm going to be staying in the Plateau area or Mount Royal. One of the most unique things about Montreal is the diversity. It is a melting pot similar to New York, where you have Chinatown, you've got the Little Italy, you have the Latin area of town, and there are so many unique neighborhoods and unique things to do in all of these neighborhoods. Something else that is very cool as well is the architecture of Montreal. The properties, like all the people's homes, are 2 to 3 stories, and they have external staircases, which is really beautiful to photograph. And something that is super interesting, in the downtown area with the high-rises can only be as tall as the mountain, Mount Royal. If you are finding value in this video, make sure to subscribe and like and leave a comment so other travelers just like you will get to learn a little bit about Montreal. Also, if you're interested, make sure to subscribe to my newsletter. The information is in the description below. Let's continue with our travel guide around Montreal. So how to get around when you're in Montreal. One, they have Uber, as I just mentioned, but the best way to get around is by using the metro system. They have a fantastic metro system that gets you everywhere you want to go. It's $3.75 Canadian or $11 for 24 hours. Great way to get around the city. They also have a great bus system as well. It's very much a walking city, and if you love to bike, it's sort of like Copenhagen, where everyone bikes. There's bike lanes everywhere, and everybody is biking. Speaking of bikes, I went on the Spade and Palacio bike tour. It's called the Pink Bike Tour. And we went for 4 hours all over central Montreal. It was a fantastic, fantastic adventure, and our guide was Chris. So if you're gonna sign up for Spade and Palacio, make sure to ask for Chris on the Pink Bike Tour. Since we're talking about things to do, another Spade and Palacio adventure I recommend is doing their Beyond the Market food tour. It is very different than a lot of the other food tours, as you're not just gonna get some poutine and a bagel. This is a great adventure around the market Jean Talon. or John Talon. And it is a fantastic tour. I went with Amelia. She was great as well. So ask for her when you're going on that tour. Those are 2 tours that I highly recommend when you're going to Montreal. Now for a few things while you're there. 1, the electricity. It is the same as in the United States. So if you're coming from the US or have those converters, that's just fine. That's what you're gonna need. Is the city safe? I found the city extremely safe. I'm talking, I felt safe. It was Canadian friendly and super, super safe. So what do you wear around Montreal? Well, I found the city very casual, very laid back. There's a little bit of soft grunge, sort of Portland-ish. There's some sophistication with the French influence as well. I love the city. I actually was there in July and I was wearing, in the evenings, I was wearing a pair of leggings and Birkenstocks to most of my dinners. I usually brought a wrap with me or a long sleeve shirt. During the day, it was in the 90s, which was perfect for biking and hiking and kayaking, etc. And it was great to wear. I wore one of my Columbia skirts and a t-shirt during the day. It was super casual and really, really wonderful. I did dress up one night to go to one of the great restaurants, but actually I didn't need to. Before I jump into food and restaurants, let's talk about the Canadian dollar. Right now, it is about 1.3 to the US dollar, so everything felt like it was about a third less. It was really easy to get around. All you needed was your ATM to go get some cash because you definitely want to tip your guides. And then you can use your credit card everywhere for restaurants and anything that you need to buy. Tipping in Canada, I talked to a couple of the waiters and servers and they said it is typical to pay 15% for service fees. And if you are really, really happy with your service at a restaurant, then paying 20% is probably enough. So the range is from 15 to 20%. Now let's talk about restaurants. As I mentioned, most of the restaurants and local restaurants that I went to were up in the Plateau or Mont-Royal area. One I recommend, it's very famous, is called L'Express, which is L''Express. That's where I had duck confit. That was one of the main things I wanted to eat while I was in Montreal. Another restaurant that is up there that was fantastic was Buvette chez Simon. That had the best vibe. They also had some of the best cheese plates because you could pick and choose of any restaurant that I went to. All of the restaurants that I went to in Montreal had wonderful wine lists. I would say a glass of wine was around 14 Canadian, which is more like 10 to 10.50 US. And they had lots of French wine, which I absolutely love. Main courses were probably 25-ish, 25 to 27, which means they're 20 to 22 US dollars. One night we went out and got a gigantic charcuterie plate. That was about 36 Canadian. Montreal is known for its food, so definitely go there, eat at some amazing restaurants and look beyond the poutine and the bagels. And if you're gluten-free, 2 amazing options are Boulangerie Les Marquis with amazing croissants and pain au chocolat, and also Cantina Panella. Big shout out to them there. They have a beautiful restaurant, delicious quiches and lasagnas, etc. So if you're gluten-free, that's definitely the way to go. Now that you have the basics of Montreal, make sure to watch my video on everything that you need to do and all of those restaurants that I recommend. I'm Kim, the Abundant Traveler. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in Montreal very, very soon. Take care and keep watching.